At remembrance outside the Michael Jackson wrongful death trial today. Today would have been Jackson's 55th birthday. Inside the courtroom, a key witness spoke very well of the late singer, and Eyewitness News reporter Miriam Hernandez has the latest testimony.
Fans of Michael Jackson say thanks to the witness who today defended the star on the witness stand. Nurse and holistic health practitioner Cherilyn Lee told the jury that Jackson was not a doctor shopper, that he simply was seeking the best doctors, that he had been on board with her plan for organic treatments to help him sleep. Yet Lee testified that after 20 visits to Jackson's house, as rehearsals were beginning for his comeback tour, the star's request changed. He wanted an anesthesiologist to give him propofol. She stated he said, "You don't understand. I need something that will knock me out as soon as it is dripped in my veins." She said it happened on April 19th. She witnessed Jackson waking up at 4 a.m., that he stood on top of his bed declaring, "I told you I cannot sleep all night." She testified he was frantic. He said, "This is not going to be a good rehearsal day." That was the last time Jackson invited Lee to his home for an insomnia treatment. The AEG defense says the incident fits a pattern.
Michael Jackson befriends people. It goes well. And then when he asks them for something that they refuse to give him, he immediately cuts them out of his life.
According to court evidence, Dr. Conrad Murray was already in place to deliver what Jackson demanded. He had ordered supplies of propofol, even as Cherilyn Lee was giving Jackson vitamins. Attorneys for Katherine Jackson claim in their suit that Jackson demanded the anesthetic only because AEG was pushing him.
I think that the evidence supports that he tried to do the right thing, that he was continuing to be pressured, and he was in a tough situation. AEG knew he had a financial problem. They took advantage of that. They pressured him to come to rehearsals.
Jackson died from propofol intoxication while under the care of Murray. The physician was allegedly selected by Jackson, but to be paid by AEG. Lee testified that she had told Jackson that propofol was not safe to be administered at home, but he was insistent that it could be done safely under a doctor's care. The trial goes on break now for the holiday weekend. When the jury comes back on Tuesday, they will hear new testimony from still more doctors.
Today in the Michael Jackson wrongful death trial, a nurse practitioner took the stand. She says the pop star showed a deep desire for propofol during the last months of his life. But CBS 2's Randy Page reports the two sides disagree over what that means to the case.
Nurse practitioner Cherilyn Lee today testified Michael Jackson was desperate for sleep on the last day she treated him for fatigue and insomnia. It was April 2009, while Jackson was rehearsing for the This Is It tour 2 months before he died. Lee testified Jackson wanted to use the anesthetic propofol, also known as Diprivan, to, in his words, knock him out. She testified she tried to convince him to stay away from the powerful anesthetic. "I said, I understand what you want," Lee testified she told Jackson. "You want to be knocked out to go to sleep. But what if you don't wake up?" How did he respond to that? Attorney for AEG Catherine Cahan asked the witness. "He continued to tell me, 'You don't understand. I will be safe as long as I'm monitored.'" Lee testified Jackson asked her to stay to watch him sleep inside his bedroom in the Carrollwood mansion. She testified he startled her when he suddenly stood up on top of the bed at 4:30 in the morning. "He stared at me with those nice big round eyes. He said, 'I told you I cannot sleep all night. All I need is something to sleep. I just need Diprivan to go to sleep,' she testified Jackson pleaded. When I said it is only used by anesthesiologists, he said, 'Why don't you bring one? You can bring an anesthesiologist and you can come too, so I can be monitored.' He wanted me to know he was going to be safe." Lee testified she refused to help Jackson use propofol, and that was the last day she worked for him.
They try to say in their complaints and otherwise that Mr. Jackson was forced to take propofol by AEG Live in a doctor of their choosing, and Mr. Jackson was forced to do this. It was something he would not have done. We see that's not true.
AEG agreed to pay Dr. Murray $150,000 a month. They didn't have to do that. The only doctor that killed Michael Jackson or that he ever had any issue in the quality of the care was a doctor that met and spoke with AEG and their top principals.
Lee broke down in tears at one point in her 2-day testimony, saying later Michael Jackson was the most caring and giving person she has ever met.